Hello everyone and welcome back to this next lecture. So in this lecture, I'm going to describe who are the target students of this course. So again, the main objective of this course is to describe how to implement some of the most popular PWM strategies on the most commonly found converters. Right? So again, there are several advanced PWM strategies and there are some very advanced converters. Those cannot be covered in this course. But still, these popular PWM strategies and these commonly found converters form almost 80% of the applications that a junior power electronics engineer will encounter in industry. So if you are a junior power electronics engineer and you are about to enter industry, you will find that whatever has been covered in this course is pretty much 80% of the applications. So therefore, the purpose behind this course is a quick jump for any power electronics engineer who is familiar with simulations but needs to get started with hardware implementation. Now, even though most of you as power electronics engineers would have learned some theory, would have done some simulations, it is still sometimes a little tricky to get started with hardware implementation, especially with a microcontroller where there are several configurations and also several details, and how do you mix all these details together to get the gating pulses that you need. And for that particular reason, the PWM strategies that have been covered in this course have been implemented in a manner almost similar to puzzles. And therefore, in this manner, I have almost presented them as a puzzle that you should solve in order to achieve a particular gating pulse. And you will find that this approach can actually be extended for some very advanced applications as well. So this course will be useful for both undergraduate and graduate students who are getting started with their degree projects. So whether it is an undergraduate student who has to complete a course project or even the degree project in your final year if you've chosen power electronics to be your specialization, and of course graduate students such as masters or PhD who are getting started with their thesis. So in such cases, this course is a quick starter course just to get you going with your projects. The other group who would benefit from this course are those who are power electronics engineers who are new to implementing PWM strategies in a microcontroller with C programming. So most of you may have come from a simulation background, and where many of the simulations can be directly dumped into a microcontroller, which means the simulation software itself has a compiler, which when you click a button, it will automatically compile your control code and program a microcontroller. Now, if you're coming from that background and you want to learn how to actually implement these PWM strategies from scratch in a microcontroller with C programming, then in that case, this course will be useful for you as well. This course is very useful for job seekers in the power electronics industry. And the reason for that is if you're a junior power electronics engineer who's looking for an entry-level position, these entry-level positions quite often require microcontroller programming and a knowledge of PWM strategies and how these PWM strategies are implemented in a microcontroller. Finally, this course is very useful for firmware engineers who are familiar with microcontroller programming, who have done a lot of programming with microcontrollers, but who wish to now expand their knowledge and bring in power electronics as well. Because this brings in basic power electronics simulations and how you can expand your knowledge beyond just microcontroller programming and also talk about simulations. So now that I've talked about who this course could potentially be for, I will talk about who this course is not targeted towards, right? So to begin with, this course does not cover closed loop control. So it doesn't contain any voltage control loops or current control loops or any of those kind of things. If you're looking for a control course where you are actually regulating the output voltage of a DC-DC converter, then this is not the course for you. Here we are only talking about PWM strategies and how those PWM strategies can be implemented with a microcontroller. Next, this course will not have any real power converters, nor will I describe how power converters can be designed. So if you're looking for a real application course where you are talking about an actual power converter in an application and how that converter is going to be designed with respect to the rest of the application, then again, this course is not for you. This course is just to describe how you can translate a simulation of a power converter and the PWM strategy into a microcontroller code. Finally, this course will not describe any real power electronics applications such as active filters or UPS or motor drives or any of those kind of things. This is just about converters and their switching strategies and how that can be achieved using a microcontroller. Finally, this course requires a working knowledge of the F28379D microcontroller and also about QSPICE simulations of power converters. So these are requirements of this course. I will not be covering these two basic aspects in this course. You should know this in order to take this course. And if this is not familiar with you, then please watch the next two videos in which I describe how you can learn these two aspects, because these are the requirements of this particular course. So this lecture was basically to describe what are the contents of this course and how these contents can be applicable to somebody who is trying to learn more about power electronics and microcontrollers. So again, there are limitations of this course and there are certain aspects on which I'm going to focus on. So therefore, watch this video and decide whether this course is really for you. If you are looking for a more in-depth control course or an application course, then don't take this course. There will be future courses which I create which will examine various aspects of closed loop control and also different applications. If you still have any doubts about whether this course is for you, then please do post in the Q&A forum and I'll be happy to help you. Otherwise, I will see you in the next lectures where I will talk about the requirements of this course. Thank you so much for listening and see you soon. Goodbye for now.